We're chasing comedy, working on jokes, working on bits, seeing what sticks, seeing what stinks. We're Brian and Dustin, and we're chasing comedy.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I have on my show one of my favorite guys in the business, a comedian, very funny guy. You may know him from numerous appearances on television. What Today's Show? What is it, Chuck? Give me your credits. You've got a long luminary,
man.
hosting your own shows with interviewing people.
Yeah, man, I've had people don't realize, but I've had 14 television shows.
Exactly. This is Chuck Nice, ladies and gentlemen. We are in the presence of TV, a multi-dimensional television personality here who's been on, give me the listings of some of this stuff.
God. So I've had probably the most popular Best Week Ever from start to finish. World's Dumbest was on True TV, and when it was out, I used to have to tell people, I'm not the dumbest. That's not.
Now, by the way, is there an earthquake in your apartment, or is that your camera shaking repeatedly?
That's me shaking the table. Sorry. That would be cool, though. I'm in Jersey, so if there's an earthquake, we're all in trouble.
Yeah.
But yeah, World's Dumbest. Let's see. Then I had 3 shows on HGTV that nobody ever watched. I had several shows on VH1. Then, of course, I had a show on HLN. I had a show on CNN that nobody ever watched, which is why I'm clearly not watchable, because that's why I had all these TV shows. People kept coming back and saying, hey, would you like to do a show? And I'm like, of course. And but I found that in the business, what happens a lot of times is they want to try something, and you're the person they try it with, and that's not the place you want to be in. You don't want to be in a place where they're trying shit out, because most things in this business don't work. So if you're the guy they're trying stuff out with, most likely it's not going to be a successful project. So, but I kept saying yes to those projects. And so, and then of course I had a show on Nat Geo. I had a show on Disney Plus. I had a show, the Nat Geo show was with Neil deGrasse Tyson, where we had a TV show. I still do the podcast with him. So yeah, I mean, I've been around too long, and long enough to hate this business and almost hate myself for being in it.
I believe self-loathing is a key component of being a comedian. However, yes, if you've got to have some place that you're trying to compensate for by getting in front of total strangers and winning their admiration. So there's some component to that. Doesn't mean you have to stay in that place of self-loathing.
It is here's the thing: I'd rather be with a self-loathing comic than the comic who believes his own shit. Those are the ones that are worse than the self-loathing.
Well, that's what's funny. The funniest people are the ones who don't really think they're funny. Like Howard Stern always used to say, and this is a double-edged sword, because as a comedian, we know that we do this. We know that we're funny. We know that we have certain level of talent, So there's people go, oh, don't put yourself down. But there's this other aspect of us that on the same time, we are immensely confident. You don't walk into it. We'll talk about the roast we just did, because that's a classic example of, I was sitting there on this massive day as Chuck booked me and this killer lineup of slaughterhouse comedians to roast this corporation. What was the company you want to talk about?
It's called CDS, yeah. And they're an e-discovery company. So you want to talk about zero material.
Yeah. And whenever you hear those things, there's anything in tech is just a series, a thick book of buzzwords, multi-level marketing, distribution, and raising awareness of visibility. And, it's like, and you go, what do you guys do? We bomb villages. So that's basically what it comes down to. It's Halliburton is what it is.
That's
it's basically Dick Cheney is running things. That's what whenever I work for those gigs, I always go, basically, your BlackRock or your what is it? What's the one that Cheney owns? Is it
That was
is
Halliburton. Yeah.
Yeah, you're basically Halliburton.
Yeah.
Okay, right now I know you're putting a spin that you're making things affordable and sustainable and everything else, but somewhere along the line there's a village in Sri Lanka
That's
that's
on
getting
fire.
drone striked. Yeah, that's on fire, and you guys built the infrastructure to do that, right? We all know that, so let's not kid ourselves.
That's funny.
So Chuck booked me and Ronan Hirschberg and Ashley Aston Morris and Dan Natterman and Tom Cotter and who am I missing?
Yeah, Caitlin Palufo.
And Caitlin Palufo and just murderer's row of people for this packed house at Gotham, and we were told to write bits about this company or tech in general, right? It was
Tech in general, e-discovery, the law profession, all the things that you want to do a set about. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing I think is, there's got to be more material I can mine in the legal profession.
There's nothing packed with yucks,
right?
That screams humor, like that. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the kind of stuff. Because in comedy, you never know what you're going to be handed, and those things can be so awful.
It's terrible.
Because they think comedy is with this thing, and they have no idea that comedy isn't this thing. Like they think everything is going to be, it's just going to be funny. And you take comedy out of its natural environment and you put it into this corporate tech world or something. And then suddenly people are like, this guy was really funny when I saw him in a club, or this,
right.
I saw this guy, and then they're, yeah, I know, because that's not this. Okay, dude, it's not this. It's location, environment, setup, framework, everything matters, That
happened to me a few years ago. I did a doctor's conference out in Long Island, and it's primarily proctologists. And, right. So what I didn't want to do was go out there and do a bunch of ass jokes and assholes. Sure. And I just didn't want to, I just felt like I can't hack it up for you guys, So I put together a really cool set, and they were so impressed that they immediately booked me for their next conference. And one person came up to me after the second one, and it was a woman from Long Island, and in a very New York fashion, she just went, "You were very funny last year."
Yeah. That is vintage comedy, what we deal with all the time.
And I just felt like saying, listen, you guys I'm not coming back, I know, but next year you'll get a comedian and he'll do a bunch of jokes about sticking a finger in the ass, and you'll all laugh because that's what you want, Yeah. So what am I going to do?
By the way, I didn't. Adam Holtz is our engineer and master of all things tech on our show here. Meet Chuck Nice, if you guys have said hi, and you're on the Chasing Comedy podcast. I don't even know if I even announced it. Chasing Comedy, where we deconstruct right bits and realize that 90% of what we come up with doesn't work, and that in our desperate effort.
That. There's a lot of people that don't understand that about comedy. I was telling somebody that just yesterday. I was having a conversation with somebody I was talking to a group of people, and they just all of a sudden started peppering me with questions about comedy, and I just I told them, listen, here's the way it works. The curse of being a comic is that you're always thinking about comedy. You never stop, because you never know when something, you're reading an article and then you'll get a thought. And it's that thought now is how do I make that into a bit? Because there's something funny there, or something will happen. You'll witness something. You'll have a conversation. Somebody will say something. So it's kind of a sickness because, even the president, and I don't mean this president, because he never thinks about his job, but even if you're the leader of the free world, there are times when you're, away from it at some point, but comedy is not you just never ever stop. And I told them the thing that is most I can't even use the word frustrating because you already recognize it. But the thing you have to recognize the most is that 90% of the stuff that you come up with and you're like, oh, that's funny. It's not.
Yeah.
And it's not going like, and then you're going to trial and error some things, and those things are going to become funny. But it is such a rare occasion to write a joke, walk on stage, and then that joke kills. And then you're like, oh, that's the joke. Like, so
that people don't realize what goes into it, that you get something in your head that you go, oh my God, this is so funny. It goes up and gets absolute death. It's crib death. It's stillbirth. It's nothing. And then you're like, what's wrong with that? Then you'll write sometimes you'll blurt out something. Like that's the beauty of comedy. It's so weird. In the moment, in the pressure, sometimes you'll be on stage and you will have something. It's not working or something, but you're working on it. And then you will blurt it out in that moment of pressure and silence and that excruciating moment of like where there's nothing going on and something will come out of your mouth and go, oh my God, I just nailed that joke.
Yep.
Oh my God, I'm so glad I taped it. You know, and that usually happens when you don't tape, but whatever.
Exactly.
Anyway. I learned that I have to tape every set. I learned that way back when, that audio tape every set, because in that way you're just checkmate that self-destructive part of you that says, oh, I'm taping, I'm not going to do the thing when I'm taping, or I'm going to do the funny thing when I'm taping. So now I tape every set. Always, I tell every comedian, tape every audio set, because you never know when you're going to say that.
Yeah. I didn't start doing that until, I mean, this is almost 20 years ago. Judah Friedlander, like I would see him at the club and I never saw him without this recorder. And I said, oh, what's that, man? Like, why do you tape? He was like, I tape every single set. Then I go back and I listen because I said something one way in one set, another way in another set. And just the way I said it is what made it kill, like all these different things. And that's when I went out and bought a recorder. Because at that point, we didn't even have iPhones.
Right. Yeah, people don't know that.
Yeah.
I had cassettes. We go back to cassettes, I believe, Chuck.
Yes.
We go back to cassettes. Walkmans. We were going on stage with Walkmans.
Exactly.
Okay, that's how, And that was funny because I remember, like, if I taped, I would feel at first when I started like taping every set, like when I said, I'm going to tape this set, but I won't tape this set, or I won't tape that set. And the ones that I was taping, I felt like this added pressure. Oh, I'm taping, so I'm going to, and the ones that I didn't, I was more relaxed because I wasn't aware of it. And then I'd say the funny stuff. And then I'd go, wait a minute, this is how your psyche screws with you. And then I said, I gotta hack my psyche and tape every set. Then you have to.
You don't feel like you're being observed. That's the thing. Whenever you feel like you're being observed, we're very much like, particles and particle physics. Like electrons are a wave and a particle, and so is light. And so there's a thing called a double slit experiment. Okay, you can tell I work with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yes, Neil deGrasse Tyson is suddenly on our show, folks. Okay, wow. Chasing Comedy has taken a turn into quantum physics.
I know. I can't help it.
Yeah.
But anyway, in this experiment, what happens is when the photon is observed, it behaves as a particle. Okay.
Yeah.
And when it's not observed, it leaves the imprint of the wave, because it's a duality, it's both. And we are very much like that until you get to a place where you don't ever feel like you're being observed. So, for instance, when I used to go up for showcases, which for anybody who doesn't know, every comedy show you see in New York is normally a showcase show. There's two types of show. There's a headliner show and a showcase show. And the showcase show is when there's a bunch of comics on the same show. And the reason why that show exists is so that the industry could see the comics. And so what would happen is they would be like, oh yeah, there's industry in the room. And that's what they would say. Like you'd be at Comic Strip Live and they'd be like, yo, Dave Becky is here. And you're like, and I would always fuck up.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
And And then I got to the place I was like, please don't tell me if anybody
I don't
is
want to
there.
know.
I don't want to know who's here, who's watching. I just want to have fun and do my thing, man.
Yeah.
But then you get to a place where it doesn't make a difference because, like you say, you hack your own psyche, you know?
Yes.
And so, but it's funny because I had the same experience as you. I would tape and I'm like, I'm not good when I tape. Like I suck when I tape myself.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, now
that was exactly the same way as me. When I would tape, I would be self-conscious. But then when I didn't tape, I was like, then I'd say the goal, and then I go, wait a minute, this is some scam that you have to get over this. You have to get over this.
Yeah.
So then I learned, and I said, no, you have to tape every set. So I tape every set every time without fail, unless I forget once in a while.
Yeah.
But 90%, but I pretty much have every audio tape. Even now, occasionally I'll delete one when it's so bad that I realize there's nothing to be found there, right? But most of the time I have them. A lot of times I don't listen to all of them, okay? Or I'll fast forward to that one piece that I did. I wrote a joke recently about the guy who drove a car with explosives into a synagogue in Michigan, and I said, because it was so funny because
that's happy fodder for jokes.
Well, but the funny part was, and then it undeniably funny. They said the guy named Muhammad drove a car into a synagogue with a thing of full of explosives, and the police are still say they're searching for a motive. Okay, okay. Now, I said, okay, that's the perfect setup, and I would just go, yeah, this is a tough one. So far, they've ruled out mob hit and love triangle. Okay, right? Okay. So I wrote that joke, and I knew right away. I said, I think that's going to kill. I had to add something to the top end of it where I said, I'm not Sherlock Holmes here, but I don't think we need Sherlock Holmes and Watson, or I don't think we need the Scooby-Doo kids, and then go into so you set up the thing, and then you do the punch at the end, which is
you can never go wrong with the mystery machine, man.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought, well, I'll do that, and that pads I don't think we need the mystery machine on this one.
Right.
So far, the police say they've ruled out mob hit and love triangle, and those are the only two things I could come up with that felt like they were possible motives for a slaying that actually,
Well, they're also funny too, because those are two motives that everybody understands, and just the universality of the motives makes it funny. Like if you were to get down into anything else, because like love triangle, everybody gets mob hit. Like we blew really the car blows up.
Yes.
Like we see the flames coming out of the front building in every movie because it's a mob hit. But once you go beyond that, I'm trying to think right now, like, is there anything else that wouldn't be macabre? But the moment you bring it up, it's now like,
I know that was the challenge, is to say, what are some motives that people would look for? Domestic abuse, like they say, but that's not funny, it's like love triangle is funny because you hear that. And that was the punch that I came up with, because I was looking at what do you hear on the news whenever they said it might involve a love triangle.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
and obviously this one did not involve that. So they're whittling it down.
Psychologically, you don't even know it, but on the subconscious level, you say Muhammad, synagogue, love triangle, you automatically think somewhere a Christian is involved.
Maybe something weird is going on. Yes, I don't know, but that would be funny. Yes, the Christian and an Amish guy and a Mormon, go into a synagogue with explosives. But anyway, this is really interesting. So getting back to what we were talking about the doing the show, like I did a show recently for a guy's birthday party or something.
Okay, I hate those.
And they're the absolute worst, and it was god awful. I won't go into detail about it. And I was on the show with several other comedians. No one was listening. No one was really interested. Mm-hmm. It was a very bad kind of situation on every possible level. People were in the kitchen having, nosh, eating, and the owner comes up to me. I was going on last, and everyone had. And I'm going to leave out some details so it doesn't reveal too much. But the owner of the place comes up to me and goes, "Hey, are you on next?" and there's a guy on stage, and everyone bombed, like no one was listening, like, and the context is completely wrong,
Right.
the setting is complete, and he comes up to me and he goes, "Are you on next?" And I said, "Yeah," and I thought he was going to go. I was so prepared for him to say, "Yes, sorry, this is a tough room," and instead he goes, "You better get some laughs because nobody's gotten a single laugh yet." You like he said like he goes, "Oh, I hope you're gonna do better than this guy because he hasn't gotten one laugh." It's like, dude, no, you're this is horrifying. Like this is completely the antithesis of comedy, and they were good comics on the show. So it was one of those classic situations where comedy out of context does not work. It's just people don't understand that location matters. And so
he's like, but getting back, why are all those comics on the ground dead? And I'm like, because you made us do comedy in the Squid Games. You know what I mean?
It's exactly. It's like, it's really, oh my God, it's horrifying. But so we get this. So Chuck called me and said, "You want to be on this show for this company, the company and this tech company, and they do legal stuff as well." So it was a weird concoction. I'm thinking, and very often I'll say no to things like that because I'll go, "Oh, this is probably hard." But at least with this, what was good because at least they're on our turf. They're at Gotham. If you go to them, that's the death of comedy. Like when you're at the company setting where the sound system is crappy and they're on their turf and you're the outsider.
Terrible.
But at Gotham, those are comedians in their natural environment, like animals wandering around the Serengeti. You're coming to visit them.
Nice.
So you're on our turf now. So that adds an element of confidence and comfort for us as performers because we know the microphone, we know the stage. We've been on that stage a million times. So you booked that show and you called me and we all had to come up with stuff. And some of those things can be so god awful. And well, how did that come to you? Like how did that gig?
Well, I work with them and I've done a couple other things in the past, and normally it's just me. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm just the entertainment, and so.
So you've done shows for them,
yes, right? And I knew that they were a really good company for like doing comedy and working with because they're very progressive. They want to have fun, like you know how corporate entities say, "Oh, we want it to be fun," and it's like, no, you don't. Like, you know, you want it to be fun the way New York is New York in Las Vegas. Like,
you know, right.
Like that's the kind of simulation of fun that you want, but you don't really.
Yeah.
But they mean it. They're like, we're gonna do something nobody else has ever done. So let's have a real comedy show. So they were going to get a venue. I said, if you want to have a real comedy show, you got to have a real comedy club. So you guys should rent out a club. And I said, there are several clubs that, you know, I could easily talk to and get rented. How many people? And then when they told me, I said, oh, well, you can only rent one club, and that's Gotham. So I said, but when you factor in, you got to go to the sound system, you got to get a stage, you got to get this, that, the other, proper lighting, this, that, and the other. Also, if you want the show to be funny, you can't have people standing around walking up to the bar, talking, and the show is going on.
Yes.
They have to sit down and pay attention. And then what will happen is they will end up having a good time. I said, if you ever had a show and you see people walking around and then you hear them say, you know, that show wasn't that good. It's like, no, you weren't that good.
Yeah, I know.
The show, it had nothing to do with the show. You weren't that good. You're walking around and talking. And so you have to listen to jokes in order to laugh at them.
And people's estimation of their comedy is one of those few things. Comedy is one of the few things that not everyone thinks. Most people are intimidated by comedy on a lot of levels, but most people think. No one says, you know, I don't have a good sense of humor. Right. Okay, everyone believes they have a good sense of humor. They don't have to be able to be funny. They might have to be able to make jokes, but everyone believes they understand humor. Okay,
it goes even further. You know, most people say, you know, I'm funny. Like, I mean,
Yes,
it's
yes.
not even I have a good sense of humor. They're like,
Yes.
I'm funny. As a matter of
Right.
fact, I used to do this on stage. I don't do it anymore. But my wife said that to me one time. She was like, I'm funny too. And I went, you mean too as in also? And also as in including me? Is that the two that you're referring to?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I said, let's clear something up right now. You are friend funny. You are cocktail party funny.
Yes.
I am mortgage funny.
Friend funny is
You
a
are
good way to
friend
put
funny.
it. Friend funny.
Right. And
Okay.
that's like your friend funny. You're with your friends like, oh my God, you're so funny. Yeah, no,
Right.
we don't do that funny. Like we're that funny. We're funny that way too. But guess
Yeah.
what? Like if I'm not funny, I don't eat.
Yes, I know. That is a whole nother level of funny.
That
Okay.
you will never understand.
It's like Brian Scalabrine, that basketball player who plays, who's like a slow white guy, and so he gets challenged all the time. He played for the Nets. He played for a bunch of teams. I think he played for the Celtics. I think he has a ring, and he's the slowest like white guy and the worst. And he's like now he's like 40 something, and he gets challenged by high school hotshots all the time and college guys who say I can beat you. And it's the funniest thing because he puts that on YouTube, and he is 1,000 times. He said the difference between me and you is like I'm closer to LeBron, okay, than you are to me. And he beats their asses. I mean, these hot shot, fast, quick guys. He's that good to make the NBA. The level of talent you have to be the worst guy in the NBA is 1,000 times better, okay, than almost anyone on any street corner or any like hoop that's on the playgrounds. The guys on the NBA, and he's the worst player, right? And he'll even say that, and he will kick the living crap out of you. That's how good he is, right? Compared to you.
Man, I love it so much. I got to go look that up. And you're absolutely right. Well, he's absolutely right. You're right. I did a show with Norm Nixon. I don't know if you remember him, but
Sure, I remember. LA Lakers. Yes.
Lakers.
Yeah. Amazing.
Norm Nixon. Unbelievable shooter. And I did a show with him, and we were shooting up and over a one story tall half pipe. And on the other side of the half pipe was a basketball court.
Right.
And so I said, there's these kids that do these trick shots where they just like up and throw the ball, and the ball just goes over the half pipe and they swish it. And I said, I don't think that's real. And then Norm Nixon goes, oh no, that's real. You could do that.
Okay.
And I go,
right.
I said, well, really? Like he was like, oh no, that's not. It's not that hard. That's not that hard.
Yeah.
He said, also for them, they probably needed like 50 or 60 tries. He was like, but for somebody like me, I could probably do it in like 7 or 8 tries.
Right.
And I was like, somebody go get a basketball right now. Like to the crew. I was like, somebody get a basketball. I don't care what it takes. Somebody get out of here and get a basketball. So they came with a basketball. 5.
Wow.
5 shots.
Wow.
By the way, not seeing the basket, being talked through it by me. I'm standing on top of the half pipe where you drop in. He's at the bottom. And and I go, all right, I'm going to stand directly in front of the basket. So when you're looking at me, you'll know the basket is directly behind me. And then I'm going to move aside. Yeah. And then he goes, okay. 1. Boom. And he missed. I said, you fell short. He went, okay. Yeah. 2, I said, you hit the backboard. He said, okay. 3, I said, you hit the backboard and you almost banked it. He went, okay. The 4th, I went, oh, you hit the rim. And then he goes, okay. Boom. Swish.
Wow.
And like this is the level of skill that's in the NBA that this guy
is there video of that anywhere?
I'm sure there is, man. I'm sure there is. But I'm like, this guy's been retired for how long?
Yeah.
And
that's amazing.
And I'm sure he's not out there shooting buckets every day. He just said it's
muscle
it's a
memory,
muscle memory, man.
Yeah. And I mean, we're actually comparing ourselves in a good way, because the people who do stand up to work every night in front of all these clubs and different scenarios and all these things, to be able to kill a drunk group of people who are completely different every night requires a level of skill. And somebody did a thing where they, I'm going to post this on my Facebook feed and everything else. A neurosurgeon guy, neuro brain guy, said that a 20-minute, 30-minute set of stand-up comedy is one of the most challenging and sophisticated things in the human experience. To be able to put that together, that AI can't do it, because there's so many factors that go into that you can't even teach. Like, I don't even know half the time why is Mob Hit and Love Triangle as funny as it is. I know it when I hear it, but I'm not exactly, I wouldn't be able to, I can graph it out in a general sense, but there are other jokes where I'd say I don't even know why that's funny. like I'll just go, I know it is because it sounds funny, but I can just nail it, but I wouldn't be able to teach it like machine learning maybe AI will figure it out, but I seriously don't think so. I feel like it'll always be a hack. AI will always be a hack comic who scrapes like Starbucks jokes off the web and just,
That's the first thing, is that it's basically just taking other jokes and reassembling them into a joke. And we don't do that, But yeah, you're absolutely right. It's like, that's the reason why it's hard to be funny in another language. Like, if you don't speak the language, if you don't speak the language fluently enough to make the associations, it's the same thing. It's all these neural connections that you're making while you're constructing this joke. And it's the reason why, when you said sometimes I don't even know why it's funny, it's like, when going back to when you talked about writing something on stage in the moment, kind of under pressure, and then you say it and then it nails it. Like sometimes that happens and you're not under pressure and there is nothing, and you just say something and everyone laughs and you're like, what the fuck are you laughing at?
Exactly.
And then you go back and you listen and you're like, I guess that's funny.
Yeah. Amazing.
I guess it's, but you still don't like, I would have never wrote that.
Well, it's like going back to the Norm Nixon thing. I've thought about this whenever I watch an NBA game. I go, okay, so Steph Curry is beyond the arc. He is holding the basketball, and you, I mean, it sounds so trivial, but you go, he has to be able to look at the distance from where he is and be able to know exactly the amount of pressure necessary and effort necessary to take that ball from this distance, which is different from 2 seconds ago where he was over there, which would have been a different concoction, and over there, which is a different configuration and a whole different level, and be able to throw that exactly with just the right amount of pressure and what's the word I'm looking for? Whatever. Force to get that ball to go into that hoop from that angle, and it's just in his body. Like he doesn't even. It's like he knows he doesn't even have to look at the hoop anymore. He knows how much from that right to left hash line or whatever. It's just going to be beyond the 3-point arc at this angle and 3 on the 3-point. He goes, and he knows exactly from practicing it over and over again. He barely has to look. If you blindfolded him, he would still be able to swish those. Maybe not 100%, but he would definitely be able to nail that in a way that no one could even conceive of that. Who doesn't?
He can't even do a tight 2. So
So put him on stage at the Laughing Cellar, and he won't. You know what I mean? The yuck yucks. He wouldn't even nail that. Yeah. So anyway, getting back, this is great. We're getting going back to the show, then you're faced with, okay, I now have the parameters of this show. It's kind of a roast. They don't want a traditional comedy show per se, okay, which is also when people get together, they go, oh, good, I hope he says something that relates to me, or I hope they're going to do, because if you just do just a show, we all know this, when they all know each other, it's saying something about the company, saying something about that. That's a different animal altogether. It's a different scenario, you know? So then you're told, okay, so then you have to go through your head and say, all right, we'll get to what the show was like, but then you had to book the show. So you had to go through, all right, who's right for this? Like, who do I think is gonna rock the room here? Who can handle this? Who's not right? Who's gonna burn this down?
So many comedians are not right for that.
Yeah, right.
So many comedians. I'm like, I want to work with these people again.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. And honestly, when I was booking it, the first thing that popped into my head was, who are the most professional of the professionals that I know? Mm-hmm. Like people who, I don't care what situation you throw them in, they're gonna rock a show.
Yeah, because that was a killer lineup, and I had to go on last. And I watch people burn through jokes that I had planned. Mm-hmm. And I was in my head, talk about being in your head doing Rain Man calculations, going, okay, Caitlin just took that off the table. Oh, Cotter covered that. Okay, that's off to this. Ronan's kicking ass. He just did this. So I'm like literally sitting there going, okay, that's out. Watching, and I was cool. All the stuff I had planned to do, I couldn't do anymore. And that was like, oh my God, that was so freaking, and it was nerve-wracking. And I'm sitting there going, I'm not nervous. I don't know why I should be petrified right now. And I'm still not, because at least I've had enough experience, but I still was like, this could go badly. After a certain point in any show, there's a diminishing returns to comedy sometimes where they see enough and then they go, wow. And then Palufo was like
she was mortar fire, like literally. She was dropping bombs, and she actually deviated from the whole thing.
Yes. Yeah, so get back to the lineup, picking the lineup, and then we'll talk about that.
So my first thing was like, I need people who won't. There are two things that can happen. One is somebody, if things aren't going well, they panic and then they blow the place up. Now I'm not going to ever work with these people again, because they panic and they go nuts. The other is somebody who would direct their attention to the audience. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't have either of that. I'm like, I don't like the whole idea. And it was my idea to roast the legal community. And because they were like, we want to roast. And I went, no, you don't. Like, I said, because I don't care who it is that you're roasting. I can't tell a lion, here's some meat. Now, all I want you to do is gently lick the meat. That's it. Mm-hmm. Gently, and then put it down, and that's it. So you don't give a lion a lamb and then say, now you can kiss it, you can lick it, and then you can put, no. Yeah. Like you give a lion a lamb, he's going to tear it apart. And I said, that's what comedians do. You tell them that they're roasting, and they're just you're going to be very upset. So then they were like, really? I mean, can't we just give them guidelines? I said,
you're so glad it's so good that you did that, because they don't know what that means to us as a comic. I mean, there's stuff that, they wouldn't even allow on Kill Tony or whatever, the most brutal. If you open the door to a roast and you say to the comedians, they want to roast, they go, trust me, in corporate America, you don't want to roast. You want a gentle tribute show with some, you know what I mean? Like, but something, what's the word? It's like a bit of a kind of like do some jokes about the show, but it's actually a comedy show.
You want ribbing. You want You want good-natured ribbing.
Well, you don't want to be skinned. Yeah. You don't want to be a taxidermist. You don't want a taxidermist. Exactly. Okay. You want a chef. You want someone who's gonna be like a dog whisperer. You don't want a taxidermist.
Yes,
okay?
exactly. Anyway, I was like, yeah, guys, that's not a good idea. I don't think either. They were like, well, we could give them guidelines. I said, listen, how about you just roast the industry? Because then what we can do is we can talk about all the stuff that you guys know in the industry, and we can talk about it as, scathingly as we want, but no one will get offended because it's not directed at anybody. I said, but once we start directing stuff at people, that person, if they're not the right kind of, if they don't have the right kind of mentality, you're gonna have a problem on your hands because they're gonna come back to you and just be like, "What the hell was that?" Like, and I've never been more offended, and blah blah blah. So they agreed to that.
Now that's ironic because when we get to the talking about Caitlyn, she pretty much broke every rule that you would think would be in a corporate event, okay? Yes. Which I was like, oh my God. And I figured she would because I've worked with her enough and seen what she does. So, and it was hilarious to watch. I was just like, oh my God, yeah.
But you know what? I thought she might do it too, which is why I put her next to last, because I felt like we would be further enough along in the show and people will have a good enough time because the lineup is so strong and that you were the closer. And so that no matter what happened with her, and I hated to do this to you, but this is what happens.
Yeah, thanks.
It's what happens, you know, but I was like, no matter what happens with Caitlyn, Brian's going to be able to step in and either ride it home or save the show.
Oh God, thanks for that.
Right, you know,
and should have asked for more money. I should have asked for more, right? It could have been that spot. It should have been. It should have been less, more money. The money should have gone up as the show went on. Yes.
So, which by the way is not a bad idea for a payment scale. But anyway, so I just figured, okay, we'll roast the show, and then I told them, so listen. We're going to need a seating chart because what I don't want to have happen, what I want to have happen is everybody from your company, I want sitting around the stage. That way, if there's some collateral damage, it falls on you and not on your clientele.
Right.
And they were like, oh, that's brilliant. Let's do that. And then they went, plus, there are a lot of people here who would love to be a part of, like, if the comics talk to them and stuff. Everybody thinks that that's like what comedy is. Like, we just go on stage and talk to people, and it's like, no, that's what you put on YouTube. That's comedy, is writing jokes and then delivering them. That's comedy. But talking to the audience can be a part of it, but that's not the purpose of it. We don't go into the club like, okay, who are we going to talk to tonight? Like, it's not an interview show. But anyway, they and that's what we did. And thank God we did it because the show was fantastic. They loved it. I mean, they loved it. But then Caitlyn gets up. So I start off the show, I do jokes, and then I ended my set with
the video.
A video.
And that was great.
Yeah. So I wrote this 2-minute video using all just imagery from their website.
Yes, it was perfect. That was the most perfect. It was this little video that they had, and you just
so I repurposed the video and I narrated it live.
Yes.
And kind of like Mystery Science 3000, and I narrated the video live, and it was hilarious.
Perfect. It was great.
And in it, I'm making fun of the company and I'm doing it, but it's all good natured. And when it's done, people were like, yeah, this is going to be great. So Ashley gets up, and the guy who runs the company, he's like the top dog. He is a bodybuilder.
Right.
But the cool thing is, this dude is like so confident in himself. He's like, because he's a smart guy, and and he could probably kick most people's ass. But so he's like real chill. I mean, super chill guy. But Ashley starts talking about him being a bodybuilder. Like, it's clear that he is. And she starts in on him, and I'm like, okay. So then Renan goes up, and Renan goes in on him, and I'm like, uh-oh. So then Dan Natterman goes up, and he goes in on the guy. And then Cotter goes in on him, and I'm like, Oh man, I hope I'm not gonna, but the guy is having a great time. I'm looking over, he's having a great time.
Yeah.
Then Caitlin goes up, and Caitlin, she basically rips him a new one. And
Yeah.
I thought like, oh snap, well, I'm done. Like this, I don't think I'm gonna recover from this, but he's still kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then the cool thing is you went up and you made fun of the fact that everybody made fun of him.
Yes.
Which, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, thank God. Like, you know what I mean? Because that's kind of like the elephant in the room. And, but, closed it out. And afterwards, every single person in that company was like, this was the best thing we have ever done, you know? And
yeah, it was great.
I sent him an email and he didn't answer for a week. So I was like,
that feeling.
I was like, oh, well, it didn't work, But then when he answered back, he was like effusive. Like, I would never thought it would be this good. All the comedians were amazing, and even Gotham was like, I wish we could get this lineup.
Yeah.
Like, I wish we could get this lineup.
Yeah. No, I watched, sitting there, because we were, and people who were listening at home, our listeners, we were all on the stage. That's the other thing. We
stayed on the stage.
All the comedians were on stage the whole time. So we were all watching each other from behind while the person was up there eviscerating or killing. And I remember and as you're doing it, calculations are going off in your head, like going, okay, that's been pointed out. That's what's available. Oh, that's off the list. Okay, I can't say that about that guy now. Oh, I got a joke. And then Cotter would do it, right? Like, and then I'll be like, oh no, that's gone. And so I had the two guys sitting there and I said, that's Key and Peele. Right. And I go, that's Key and Peele. I go, nobody has said that yet. Okay. Nobody said that. I go, okay, please no one say that we have Key and Peele here. Right. Like, and I'm watching, and that was like, I wrote that like after 3 comics in or 4 comics in, if there's somebody pointed out, and I go, and there was the kind of rough looking lawyer guy and the really good looking guy, the Nordic looking guy. There was that guy. And it was like, and then there was the woman who was there was like 2, I don't even know, there was a guy that looked, I don't know what it was, but I was writing jokes and I was going, I hope these are still available by the time I get on. Like, I hope that nobody says Key and Peele. Please don't say Key and Peele. No one said it. I was like, great, I got Key and Peele. All right, great. And then and I said something about Cash Patel or something about the guy.
Yeah, because the guy Cash who runs Patel's, the company. Yeah.
Childhood bully or something.
That was childhood funny. Bully. That was great because it was because there was that. But see, that's why I put you last, because like that Cash Patel joke was so subtle. Because you were like, you're looking at the guy who runs the whole company, and you're just like, and here we have Cash Patel's childhood bully. Because, they're both Indian, one's a bodybuilder, Cash Patel has clearly suffered trauma in his life. Yeah. Look at his eyes and you're just like, those are trauma eyes. Okay. Like, and people broke up laughing because it just like, it meshed together perfectly. So, but also it wasn't at his expense.
No.
You know what I mean? Like that joke.
Yeah, I knew I couldn't rip the guy. He had already gotten hammered. So I'm sitting there going, what can I say about this guy? And I don't know where that came in, somewhere along the line. I thought of that and I thought maybe that's funny. I don't know. I think it's funny. It sounds funny in my head. Hopefully that'll get something. But it was also kind of, I knew I was going to go up and say, all right, this guy's, everybody's making a joke. So now I have to. So I mean, what can I say? You do, but you look like Cash Patel's childhood bully. Okay. And it was boom. Okay, got a good laugh there. All right, good. That was good. Because all of the stuff I wrote was, by the time I got up, was
unusable.
Yeah, it was unusable. I had a joke where I said lawyering, and so wait, Chuck Nice hired us to do so you're lawyers and you're lawyers who also work in tech. Wow, great. Ambulance chasers who code. Okay, that I wrote that. Now I don't even know if I did that, but it wasn't that was funny. It would have been funny early in the show.
In the show, yeah.
It was
Yeah.
way too savage. Things had gotten way too
Yeah. There was blood in the water
strip-mined.
by the time you got up, man.
Yeah. So I said, okay, I can't do that, right?
Yeah.
Like that's too subtle. So then it was boom, and then there was the Bond girl, Bond villain. I think I had a joke about like the girl. Yeah, well, now we have a Bond girl, and my favorite joke was the lawyer guy. That was my favorite part. Was like, you look like you do look, because everyone pointed out this guy looked like Alan Dershowitz, like he was a lawyer, and he said you do look like a lawyer, and you look like the guy Hollywood would cast to play him in the movie, because he was like a tall Nordic.
He was, yes. He's Dutch.
It was like, okay, that's a great joke. I thought in my head, I'm going to do that joke for that table. And all of those jokes worked. And I was like, and then it was like, okay, now I have to just kill the clock with my, material. And so some of that stuff is not going to go over as well as this shit is going to go over, because that's what they're there for. And so it was just like, okay, great. Boom. I got my thing. Now let's do some stuff that's kind of adjacent to that. And then it was like, boom, it was great. It was like, and that lineup, I mean, really, it was one of the most brutally efficient, tactical. It was SEAL Team 6, that fucking lineup.
The show just came off without a hitch. It was like so perfect, and the management at Gotham was like, "Wow, man, this was a great show." So you can't listen. Total success. So much so, I'm never doing it again.
I'm going to retire on this. I'm going to
go out on top, Jerry. Yeah. No. Actually, I told him next time, instead of a roast, what we can do probably is like a regular comedy show, and see how we can make that work for, your purposes. Somehow if there's maybe interstitials in between the acts, there's something that we do that kind of ties the comedy to the company. I'm not sure, I haven't worked it out yet, but I'm sure
you've set a high bar with that scenario, that setup. And I don't even know if, it's like you said about that proctology thing that you did, where the first show was kick-ass and the next one was a nightmare. Like a show like that could have gone either way, like it could have gone, but you had a really solid group of really smart comics. Ronan was so funny, and Tom, of course, and Ashley and Dan Natterman and Caitlin just fire hosing the place. So like it was just like, it was really like a good mix of everything. You couldn't have asked for a better scenario for people who are listening, who are interested in comedy or whatever. That's like, that's such a different animal. I have done some of those things, but I haven't done a lot. Like I don't do those roast battle things. They're
too mean-spirited for me. They're too mean-spirited for me. I mean, I hate to sound like a bleeding heart pussy, but first of all, I take it kind of personally,
Right.
It's hard for me to just, these are just jokes. You know what I mean? It's like, I did I did 2 sex scenes in my career acting. And one was a gay sex scene where you don't actually touch. And we shot it in like, where shadows. So like, you're shooting the camera straight into light. So all you see are the shadows of the people doing what they're supposed to be doing, which means that you don't have to touch one another, because the camera doesn't have perception. Depth. The camera doesn't really have depth perception. So it only has a depth of field. And if you're in that one area, it's flat. So you can be here, the other person can be next to you, and you can make it look like from your shadows that you're like doing whatever you want to do, whatever it might be. And that's what we did in order to have the gay sex, and then I did another sex scene with a woman. Okay. And in it, I'm feeling her breast and I'm on top of her. Of course, we're not doing it. It's not, too bad it wasn't real porn, but
so you say.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's the story, and I'm sticking to it. Okay.
But the reason I bring all this up is this is how I feel about a roast. When I was doing that sex scene with that woman, like for me, it was sex.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it felt just like the way I feel.
So you're saying in a roast situation when somebody's ripping you, it's just like they're having sex with you.
Yeah, exactly.
They're insulting you. They're insulting you.
It feels it feels like they are just penetrating me so hard.
It's not. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah,
Well, that is an interesting metaphor. I didn't see coming there.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. So my point is that it's hard for me to differentiate between the joke and the fact that, because in order for it to work, the roast, these jokes have to be tied to the truth in some way.
Yes.
And like
So
I was a part. I was a part of one where the guy, I forget this comedian's name, but we had been at a party once, and this is back, before my heart problems and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I used to do cocaine. And he said during the roast, he told everybody that I did coke.
Oh man.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what the and I was like, yo, bro, like that's he was like, what are you talking about? It's a joke. I was like, yo, man, that's beyond. And I was upset. Yeah. So these roasts don't work for me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because and the other thing the other thing is when I'm telling the joke and I'm, shitting on somebody, like I still feel like, I'm shitting on you. I don't feel like I'm joking.
Right. Right. Right.
So
well, I know exactly what you're saying, that like I don't know if I want to know how my friends perceive me all the time. All of the, it would be interesting to open the door to that perception that people have of you, as Robert Burns' poem, "Oh, the gods, a gift to give us to see ourselves as others see us," and to have a perception of like other people's perceptions of you. But I also am frightened at what might come out, or what I didn't know or wish I didn't in that scenario, Right. But we can't belabor this because I don't want to keep you, and we also have the show. What I want to do is I want to bring Adam in to get our AI comedian, because I want we have an AI comedian, and you're gonna love this. You're gonna love this, Chuck. No, because
it sounds so awful.
Oh, I know. No, but you don't understand. The way we do it is we and you're gonna love the name. It's Carlos MCAI. Okay,
MCI
is our AI comedian.
MCI.
MCAI is our. It's not Carlos. We leave off that, but MCAI is our resident AI comedian. Sometimes on the show, we have two things that we do on the show. We spin the wheel of premises and then we write jokes about it. We can do that. But one thing I would like to do is to see what AI and see the awful jokes. And almost never do we laugh. We always go, oh my God, that's so horrible. But I would wonder what MCAI, if you said, write me some roast jokes for a tech company that also a tech legal company, and see what MCAI spits out. Right?
Okay, I'm game for that. Just to see.
This is what do you think, Adam? Is that doable, Adam?
Yeah, I already got it set up for the roast style. So let's see.
And what are you using? Is this
He built this.
Oh,
Adam
you built
this.
This.
Yep.
Yes.
You built your own AI, Adam.
Adam's a wizard. Yeah. Let's see what MCAI would have done at the. Obviously, I'm sure we could probably make this specific if we fed in the company name, but we're not going to do that. We'll just hear what it would do in a scenario like that, where it was a tech legal firm and roasting that company. I'm dying to see what it would be able to come up with for that. This is like, we've never done this. We've never done a roast.
I love the like adult clean mild blue, which sounds more like a jazz album, like with Kenny G playing, and then blue comedy. So funny. Raw and uncensored, and then dark comedy. I love it.
Okay, so what do we got? What do we got, Adam?
Is that the prompt over there on the other side?
This is the bit over here that it wrote.
Oh, it wrote already.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it does it really fast.
Wow. I'm jealous, by the way, that it wrote something this quickly. Ladies and gentlemen, I am here today not because...
No, wait. It's going to play it. It's going to read it. Right,
Oh, yeah.
watch.
Oh, it does it to you? It does the
Oh,
voice
yeah.
for you?
Yeah.
Listen up. This is
Look at
great.
me. You would think that I'm from like 1906. I'm just like, what? It actually talks? Okay, go ahead.
Hit it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here today not because I want to roast a tech company, but because I couldn't remember my password and I'm hoping someone here can help me out. Now, as we all know, tech companies are a lot like relationships. You're always being promised the world. We'll change your life. We'll make things easier. We'll always be there for you. And then 2 updates later, you're out in the cold because your model is suddenly obsolete. And let me tell you, the commitment, it's worse than a marriage. I mean, once you've bought into the Apple ecosystem, there's no going back, unless you want to live in a world where none of your devices talk to each other. But let's not forget about Google. They're like the needy partner. They want to know where you are, what you're doing, who you're with. I mean, come on, Google. Even my ex wasn't that clingy. And let's talk about coding. It's like a foreign language that everyone is pretending to understand. It's all the...
Wow.
That's off there.
Wow.
Okay, let me just say that
Well,
guy's...
hey,
First of all,
that's Brian Scalabrine. Me and you watching some guy playing against Brian Scalabrine. Okay,
Exactly.
right there. Okay?
I don't understand why the delivery is so like borderline angry.
Is there mild blue? What about blue comedy? Can we do the blue comedy? And
Let's see what the blue is. Yeah.
super blue.
Warning. Okay.
We'll do this one. We'll do. Should we do mild blue or blue comedy?
No, blue comedy, because mild blue
comedy.
is there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's so uncommitted. Like, make it commit.
Yeah.
Make it.
That's what I want to hear. I want to hear this. Okay. That's an example of where you go.
By the way, that was awful. I'm just saying that was fucking.
Oh, it's
terrible.
always awful. It's always awful.
Oh my god.
Let's see. So let's see how much. What's the time frame there? I mean, God, this is so much fun because we just go, oh God, I have nothing to worry about from AI, right?
Yeah, we really don't. Thank God.
Yeah. It really is not. Comedy is not something that is easily teachable, and it's basically
hard to learn and harder to do.
Yeah.
It's hard to learn and harder to do.
Okay, let's see what we got here.
Okay, we got a new set. All right.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for our beloved tech company. I mean, the only place where you can work 80 hours a week and still have no idea what the hell you're doing. I heard a rumor that our CEO drives a Tesla. Not because he likes electric cars, but because it's the only thing in his life he can reliably turn on. Speaking of things that don't work, how about our new software update, huh? Yeah, I've seen more successful launches on the Titanic. I used to think Murphy's Law was bleak. But then I tried using our company's Wi-Fi. It's like a game of Russian roulette where every chamber is loaded. But let's not forget our IT department. The only department in the world where saying, have you tried turning it off and on again counts as problem solving. And take a look at our marketing department. The only people who can sell you a dream while living in a nightmare. Our HR department isn't any better. Their motto should be, we're not satisfied until you're not.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow, that was even more paint. That was the blue set?
That was blue?
Yeah.
I think we got to go to the raw and uncensored.
Yeah.
Or dark comedy.
Yeah. Dark.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You can't. Can you mix the two? Can you go raw and uncensored?
Wait a minute. What about completely unhinged? Let's go all the way.
Yeah,
We can't do every one of them.
Yeah, let's just do completely unhinged and see where it takes us. By the way, what's up with the pauses? Clearly, the thing that AI doesn't understand at all is timing.
No. Yeah, it's obviously it's still in its.
Listen. AI period is in its infancy. So
But I mean, yeah. Sometimes you'll hear like an angle that it offers. I'll go, okay, that's one I didn't think of. I can probably make that great or something. But 90% of the time, it's nothing, right? Like it's really pretty bad. All right,
we got a new one.
Yep, here we go. A whole new set. Let's see what happens here.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, it's a real honor to roast a tech company today. I mean, who else can turn the simple act of opening a browser into a task equivalent to hacking the Pentagon? Look at you working for a tech company. You guys make the Amish look like they're living in 2050. I mean, your tech support is so bad, even your AI is developing an attitude problem. When I asked Alexa for help with your software, she told me to Google it. And let's talk about your programmers. I never knew the living embodiment of caffeine addiction until I met your development team. I mean, these guys are so jacked up on energy drinks and cold pizza, they're one bad code away from turning into the Matrix. And what's with your obsession with updates? I mean, every time I log into your software, there's a new update. At this rate, by the time I finish updating your software, the next iPhone will be out. Your CEO, oh boy, he's got more mood swings than Elon Musk on Twitter.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
Wow. There was one thing that was funny.
There was one
the
thing.
Google Alexa tells him to Google it or something.
Google, yeah. Like
that was funny.
Yeah. And that, I mean, listen, I have to say that I think maybe one day, if this is where we are now, and the AI that we're in right now is only a few years old, maybe 20 years from now, we will be out of work.
I actually,
because it did get one joke. I got to say, that's, if to get one joke, at least it means that it's capable.
Right. No, I understand that, but I can hear the joke construct there as something that AI that is like almost something where I go, okay, that is a familiar.
Right.
It's like I know what somebody probably did that or
exactly.
had. Yeah.
I see what you're saying, because every single joke that he says and every single setup, you can tell that it was pulled from something.
Yes, it was manufactured out of spare parts.
Right.
So you can hear the I made Google. I called Alexa and he asked me to Google it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's like okay, that's a juxtaposition of a two. Right. Alexa, Google. I get it. It's the construct is pretty standard.
Well, it's very elementary. That was the only joke that worked, and it's the most elementary of jokes. No, listen, AI sucks at comedy. That's for sure. Which, thank God, because
it's funny. I watched Sam Morril had a joke online today, and I saw and the punch. I think it was even a response to somebody in the audience, but he said it was something about the death penalty and death penalty. It was a really funny joke. But then there's somewhere in there he said the Code of Hammurabi. Right. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I just, as a comic, I just hear that and I go, that is a great reference that I have not thought about, heard used in a long time, right, or any at all, if at all. And I thought that's the way a comic thinks. It's like Bobby Fischer, 17 fucking moves ahead in a chess game. Right. Like Code of Hammurabi is like, damn, that's a great. You could take that Code of Hammurabi reference and you could put it into 17 different things. And if the punchline is like, we went from this to the Code of Hammurabi, right? like that's that, I can hear it in my head being the punchline to several different jokes and as a mobile, movable part that would end up somewhere. And that's what AI is kind of doing is it has these movable parts where it goes, just Google it. And Google it is funny, right? Like, I told a guy and they just told me to Google it, like, and you can hear the mobile kind of like, it's a simulacrum of comedy, but it doesn't have soul. It doesn't have person. Obviously it doesn't have vulnerability. It doesn't have like a true individual story behind it. Obviously it's just the bare bones scaffolding of comedy, and so sometimes it'll hit it right because it'll hit the Google thing, but it really leaves a lot to be desired.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah. But anyway, this has been great. Thank you.
Man, this was fun. I'm glad you had me on, man. This was I never talk comedy, so like,
no, I love talking shop, and that's what this show is. And we, and as someone who's been doing it a long time, somebody I've known a long time, we opened the club in Aruba together. And you're one of those guys that when you go on, I could, some comedians you go, I don't know where this is going to go, but you always are sort of like, oh, Chuck will be fine. Like you say about me, you knew that I was going to do well. I go, Chuck is going to do well. We don't have to worry about Chuck's natural likability, and he's got killer closers, and right, and he's got these great bits that are going to fucking rock the room. So it's like, okay, cool. We're in good hands here.
Thanks,
some
man.
comics I can't say that about, but anyway.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the consideration. You know what I mean? I mean, and it's it's the feelings mutual. We all know.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's like, and only Brian would have a show about writing comedy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you guys don't know he's obsessed. The man's obsessed.
Yeah, I'm obsessed, and yet I'm too perfectionistic, and it's held me back because I sit around going, I should have 4 specials, and I barely have 1, because I'm sitting there going, that's not ready yet, that's not ready, and they yell at me on the show here because I'm still tweaking pieces that I still don't think that most comics would close with, and I'm still going, it's not there yet. It drives me crazy, and there's go ahead, sorry.
No, I was going to say I wish I was more like that.
Yeah. Oh, whatever. It's just like that's my torment. No, you don't. Okay. If anybody reads Anton Chekhov play The Seagull, there's a Trigorin character, and he plays a writer, and he articulates a monologue about what it's like to be tormented at being a writer, where ideas are coming to you all the time, and it's a living hell to be an artistic, obsessed and gifted artist, and it's this amazing monologue that any artist appreciates in The Seagull. I can't believe I'm quoting Chekhov here, but it's a great monologue because it really explains and communicates this thing that comics have, that Chuck said earlier, that we think all the time, oh my God, this is a bit, and it's like most people aren't living their lives in that utopian prison of creativity and also self-consciousness and obsession. It's just a nightmare and a joy at the same time, and that's comedy. So,
oh man,
anyway,
jeez. Can't do any better than that, people.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, Adam Holtz, Chuck Nice, ladies and gentlemen. Anything to plug? You got where you're going to be?
My
what are you going to do?
Special, guys. Chuck Nice, Just Smart Enough on YouTube. Just put it in like that. Chuck Nice, Just Smart Enough. And it's a science comedy special. Don't be intimidated by that. It's a genre that I like to say, I like to call dick jokes and data. So,
that's perfect for our roast. That would have been perfect for the roast. Dick jokes and data.
Jokes and data.
Right?
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Chuck Nice, ladies and gentlemen.
Lot, thank you.
Like and subscribe. Find us you know the drill, Adam. Whatever we say at the end of this thing, I don't even know. But find us, subscribe, tell your friends. Chasing Comedy, the Chasing Comedy podcast, and we'll see you next time, guys. Because our beloved co-host Dustin Chafin is our beloved co-host Dustin Hoffman will be on the day. Our beloved co-host Dustin Chafin is on a ship somewhere at sea, I believe, and so he'll be back. I think next week. We'll have him back. Chuck Nice, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for doing the show. We'll see you later, brother.
Well, folks, that's our show. It's time for us to go. Make sure to follow us, give us a like, drop us a comment, and always subscribe. We're Chasing Comedy on all the socials. We hope you had a gas, had some laughs, and maybe you learned something too. Until next time, we're Brian and Dustin, and we're Chasing Comedy.